as we kind of start winter, you never know when it's starting, right? I will ask you this question. Do you know of Groundhog Day? Anyone? Good Germans in the room? Groundhog Day. No? So it's a tradition that started amongst the Pennsylvania Dutch. Actually, it's not Dutch, it's Dutch, right? Deutsch. That means the Germans who moved to Pennsylvania. Amongst the first Germans that moved to Pennsylvania were lots of Lutherans. That's where our church started. So this tradition of Groundhog Day is kind of close to the Lutheran heart. What happens is that a groundhog, a rodent called Phil, I wouldn't try to say his first name, but let's say Phil, comes out of its hole, having been in hibernation through the winter, and it gets on the ground, and if it sees its shadow, it is believed that winter will be longer because there's no cloud cover, at least 6 weeks. And if it does not see its shadow, that means spring is coming quickly. Is that how you remember it?
Yep.
There's this and many other mechanisms that we have in modern day, even as ancient as that might sound, it's still being used. But there are things that we do because we are preoccupied with knowing what the future would be like. Yeah? We want to know what tomorrow will bring. We want to know how to prepare. We're always looking for signs. It's just the nature of our lives. People ask Jesus, Lord, show us a sign. Last week we heard the disciples ask God for a sign. When will this thing happen? In this text today, Jesus gives us a litany of signs. Different signs in nature, in the political and economic world. He focused particularly on the moon, the stars and the skies, the seas. He says there will be signs. When you see the leaves, you know that spring or summer is coming. He says that of the fig tree and other trees. Here in Florida, when we see the citrus trees flowering, we know that hopefully there'll be a good fruit crop. It didn't happen in our yard, but that's supposed to be the sign. Now, besides knowing the future, when we look for signs, we also look for signs that we can deal with. Not just knowing what the future will hold or when will the future reach some kind of conclusion, but we want to see signs because we want to know how to deal with life. Now, many people have regular health screenings. We do. We do that because we want to pick up any issue that we might have health-wise, so that we're able to deal with it sooner than waiting for it to escalate into something that will have us lie on our back, maybe even close to death. If you have a test with a high cholesterol, generally this is what we do. What do? We just hope it was not higher, right? Especially if it's borderline, as they keep on telling you, it's borderline. Whatever that means. You change your diet, you start doing exercise, and you try to live a more simple, calm life so that you won't be under stress. Well, good luck with that. But generally, we make changes based on predictions, and in modern science, we're able to do that using modern medicine. Now, when we look for signs and we respond to these signs, we're not looking for guarantees. Doesn't mean if you stop eating red meat and shrimp that your cholesterol will go down. But we looking for indicators that we might be better, we might be getting better. We're trying to lose weight, we check the scales, and when we see that we've lost weight, we know that we're probably healthier. It's not a guarantee. I know someone who used to run daily, my friend from Minnesota, who one day in Ohio visiting there just collapsed. He was as fit as a fiddle. But we're looking for indicators to show us what might the future be like. Even in our lives, we look for indicators of things like hatred, attitudes, even things like addictions. If you find that you just long for and you can't stop longing for that piece of chocolate, we might be addicted to chocolate. Or we might be addicted to cigarettes or alcohol or even painkillers. Currently, painkillers are the biggest cause of addictions in the US. Now, even though we know it's unhealthy behavior, we find ourselves doing it. And that is an indicator that you are addicted. Or at least you may be addicted. We look for indicators and signs. It's not uncommon. Is there anything wrong with looking for indicators and signs? And people have prevented greater pain, and not for themselves only, but for those around them, by looking for signs. Today we are honoring those that are 90 plus this year. Our 90s club, I discovered, has 8 people. During the Advent lunch, we'll be honoring them more. Now, that group, that club knows the advantage of looking for signs, right? That listening to the signs, reading the signs of our body. Now, don't think about Shakira. Reading the signs of the body. That's different out of context. In the first part of our reading today, Jesus is giving us indicators. Sorry, Chrissy, I couldn't help that. Jesus is giving us indicators, not guarantees, that the end will come and that we need to be ready. We must watch out, because the moon, the sun, the skies, the stars will behave differently. Perhaps it was global warming or climate change, and yes, it's a real thing compared to some beliefs in the world. The signs in the natural world show us what's going to happen next, even if we are the ones that corrupt it or pollute it. In verse 34, of this text, Jesus is exhorting us to be ready at all times. Be on guard so that your hearts are not weighed down with dissipation and drunkenness and the worries of this life, and that day does not catch you unexpectedly like a trap. For it will come upon you and the face of the whole earth. And then he says in verse 36, be alert at all times, praying that you may have the strength to escape all these things that will take place, and to stand before the Son of Man. Be alert. That's what Jesus is asking us to do. Now, we don't know exactly when a crisis will come. That's why it's a crisis. We don't know exactly when we will meet the Lord. I visited someone in a healthcare facility not so long ago, and really moved me when he said to me, Pastor, I'm ready for end of life. That's the way he described it. Whatever comes, I'm ready for it. He added, it's because of the hope we have in resurrection that I am ready. And we can be ready. after I did communion with him, he said, this table is not just about the death. This table is about the fact that Jesus will come again. You see, we can miss the signs that appear in our world, in our life. But it won't be catastrophic. It won't be a train smash if we are ready all the time. Are we together? If we are ready all the time. That is what Jesus is saying. Be alert. Be ready all the time. And we can be by the grace of God. I have a friend who's a professor at this seminary at Chicago, our Lutheran seminary. He was recently, in the last month, diagnosed with a severe form of cancer. He had to go through all kinds of treatments, blood transfusions and chemotherapy, the whole 9 yards. I've been in touch with them from day one, his wife and his daughter, and he and his family cannot believe where they got the strength from to walk this route. But the strength and the bravery didn't come overnight. It came from them having been prepared all of the time. It's not overnight. We ought to be ready all the time, not only being fervent in our prayers and in our religious practice when we are faced with a crisis. That's what Jesus is saying. Yes, there's all the litany, as I said, of predictions, but that's not the point of this text. This is to say that we need to be ready all the time, because none of those signs are guarantees, but only predictions. When the unexpected comes and we are able to stand and not fall apart, when we are able to hold on to the Lord, it is that shows us that we are ready. It's not the rituals that we keep, or the good habits and the good practices. Those can be performed by any religious person. Very often when people get sick, they become very religious. But it's not that Jesus is talking about. Even humanists and atheists can be suddenly very religious and engage in religious practices or ritual that will make them believe that they're ready. Our readiness as Christians says with quiet conviction, my hope is built on nothing less than Jesus' blood and righteousness. No merit of my own I claim, not readiness exercises. No merit of my own I claim, but wholly lean on Jesus' name. On Christ the solid rock I stand, all other ground is sinking sand. It ends, all other ground is sinking sand. This was a hymn of Edward Mote, written in the early 19th century. Still relevant. Quiet confidence. Not frenetic, panicky actions to ready ourselves when the time comes. But quiet confidence. The first candle of Advent that we lit today was to symbolize hope. First candle symbolizes hope. Our hope is in Jesus, who by grace enables us to be ready at all times. We will test our readiness by how we deal with the unexpected. No matter what the ground dogs of our lives tell us, or do not tell us, we will stand confident before the Son of Man, as Scripture says, because we stand in Him, our solid rock. Amen.